Hello Tampa Bay, Andrew Duncan here with the Duncan Duo team at REMAX, joined by Robert Johnson, president of our Duncan Duo team, co-host on our 970 WFLA radio show. And today we're here to talk to you about a topic that seems to be more common this time of year in the Tampa Bay area, and that is what it's like to buy a house in Tampa Bay when you live somewhere else. So Robert, what are some thoughts you have on steps people need to take if they're looking at buying a vacation or second home here from outside of the local area?
I think the first thing you need to do is make sure that you talk to an agent in your local area, in this local area, or wherever you're moving. I think it's important. Usually, a lot of people will take the step of going out and just driving around and taking a look at the areas that they want to buy in when they're buying local. But when you're not local, you don't really know where to start. So contacting an agent, going through the things that you're really looking for in a house, areas that you'd really like to be in, really just getting their knowledge on what you like versus where they should probably look.
I think another part of that is, like you said, when you're here on vacation, you're here during the holidays or you're here during spring break, you don't see as much traffic happening. So you may be driving through an area and think, oh yeah, this is great, this is really close to the beach, because it's maybe 20 minutes from the beach, the day after Christmas. But in rush hour traffic, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So getting kind of that local agent's feedback about traffic, about what's close by, about what's important to that neighborhood and area is super important. I think another part of it, we get a lot of people that buy from out of state that have preconceived notions about how real estate works in their area, the neighborhoods that do well or the neighborhoods that don't do well. You kind of have to scrub that. Real estate is really local. So what might work in Michigan or New York or Montana isn't necessarily going to be what is great in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and there's a whole different amount of rules and regulations. Even going down to the closing date, the after closing process, what actually goes along with the real estate process here as opposed to where you're coming from.
And we're a title state, not an attorney state. That's another thing that's common from up north. Attorneys do closings. Here it's title companies. So that's something that's different where people might have a preconceived notion. Another really important one is if you're buying a property here in Tampa Bay, you got to pay attention to flood insurance and the insurance costs. You might have a preconceived notion about insurance costs, and we'd love for you to talk to our preferred insurance agent, Angela Duncan at We Insure Tampa Bay. But the reality is you may have a preconceived notion about insurance in your market that doesn't apply here. The insurance may be higher, maybe it's lower. You have flood costs here, you may not where you're from. If you plan on doing anything other than you occupying and using the home, making sure that you're allowed to legally. Airbnb, VRBO are great resources for you to rent out a property or do short-term leasing. But some municipalities and some homeowners and condo associations are striking down against them.
Yeah, and just also what goes along with that is our different homestead exemption laws. So the tax implications that come from either renting out the property, full-time occupying the property, it's all different depending on what you want to do.
And last but not least, understand differences that we might have in property condition. You may be from an area that doesn't need gutters where we may need it. You may be in an area where there's not a lot of water retention or there aren't certain bugs, or you may not have mold issues that we have because of our climate. So understanding how certain items on an inspection report may not be as big of a deal here or maybe an even bigger deal here than they are wherever you're from. So hopefully this has been helpful for you in terms of helping you decide whether or not to buy a property from outside of the state here in the Tampa Bay area. And make sure to check out our website at theduncanduo.com. Follow us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Duncan Duo.